Hello, and a very lovely afternoon to you, the audience here in the Rezzed Developer Sessions, and to the people watching on Twitch who aren't up there, but I can't stop looking up for some reason. I'm Bertie, a writer for Eurogamer, and what a rare treat we have for you this afternoon. Sorry. 2 years ago, these people sat next to me were sat on almost exactly this stage, revealing the first details for their new game. It hadn't been crowdfunded at that point. It wasn't really a reality. Now here we are just over a week away from the game's launch. The game is, of course, Yooka-Laylee, as you can see on the screen behind me. And with me from developer Playtonic are Gavin Price, the studio head, Chris Sutherland, the project lead, and Steve Males, the character art director. Thank you for coming. So, we're going to be talking about the development of Yooka-Laylee, while Andy, who you can't see, the comms director and writer, is playing the game live behind the screen, for real, in real time there. And we want your questions while we play. We'll be talking about how the game's come together, but there's a microphone in the middle, so please, anytime you feel like it, just get up and a magical light will beam down on you, and we'll take your question. Please don't wait to be kind of invited, just come on up. Also, there are whispers, murmurs, that something will happen during this session, that something extra special may be revealed. Stick around. That's all I can say. Stick around. So, to begin with, can you cast your minds back to 2 years ago when you were revealing Yooka-Laylee here to the world and some of the ideas and some of the art for the first time? What were you thinking? Was it a nervous moment, an exciting one?
I think it was the most nervous I've ever been in my life, up until about 2 days ago when it dawned on me that the game's finally going to be coming out, etc. But that day, yeah, those 2 years have gone so quick for us, and we were just like 6 people back then. We never knew where the start of that journey was going to take us, and it went so differently and so much better than what we expected. And I remember thinking, oh, I've seen Chris in the office, practicing his speech all week, etc., and I'd done nothing, and I thought, I've got to follow him. And I couldn't get out of it at that point. But yeah, what about you guys?
I'll let you say it's just the time's passed very quickly. It just seems like yesterday we were here standing on stage saying that we're going to start a Kickstarter, and then, yeah, not only did we do that, we launched that, that became successful, then we worked on the game and finished, and then we now finished the game. It feels like it's just such a short period of time.
Yeah, what did you think people would say about the game? Because I expect there's always that worry that maybe the game isn't going to be as popular as you think the game's going to be. Well, I mean, how did you feel about that? What did you think people would say?
Well, I think that was also true with the Kickstarter, and both when we were here, we thought people might just say, I'm not interested in that. I've seen that before. And then, they wouldn't be interested. But we saw with the Kickstarter, it was just surprising the number of people that backed us just literally at the instant we went live.
Yeah, we'd had a lot of positive emails as soon as we announced the existence of Playtonic, but you're never sure that those positive emails are going to convert into Kickstarter backers. So when they did, we were just deliriously happy that we could make the game that we wanted to make.
So the Kickstarter launches, and you asked for £175,000, and in 40 minutes you had £175,000, and you went on to raise 10 times that. I mean, what was that like? Were you all in the office watching together, or were you at home? What was that moment like?
Yeah, we were in the office, and we were just like, right, let's see how this goes. We had no expectation. We thought we'd built a number of stretch goals that were going to last the whole 45 days of the campaign, and we were just going to have to sit tight. And I remember saying to the folks, for a good 10 minutes, we might not see a single pledge come in. People have got to read the page and see what's going to happen. And then the number just started ticking up. You thought
I thought the Kickstarter had broken. I just thought it can't possibly be going up that quickly. So it just didn't make sense, because I thought, surely there's not all those people waiting for us to post this link. So I just thought people would, wait around, think about it, read the page, like you say, before making a decision. But people just seemed to jump straight in, which was great.
I'd gone home to pick my daughter up from school, so I was sitting at home watching the money go up. So I thought, oh my God, I've got to go back to be with the guys, for this momentous occasion. And then by the time I got there, Jens, our technical director, was spraying Gav with... He didn't mean to do it, but he was spraying Gav with champagne.
I was going to say, how did you celebrate? But,
it was a complete accident, but that's all I can remember.
Cheap champagne in plastic glasses, and it was really warm. And
oh, lovely. So, with all that money and all that more attention than you were expecting, I suppose, comes with it more expectation. So is it, I mean, it's amazing raising that much money, but all of a sudden the game, people want more, the game gets bigger, things grow. I mean, how was that? How did you cope with that?
yeah, I think the core ideas for the single-player adventure we'd already kind of settled on and we're happy with. But we always wanted to add the stuff such as co-op and couch multiplayer, because back when we were doing this type of game before, the N64 was well known for bringing people together around the machine.
Yeah.
And we wanted to capture that kind of package as well. So that extra money, you know, it just enabled us to really have our dream list all ticked off and say, right, we can really go for it on all these different features now as well. Yeah, again, it was unexpected. We didn't know if we would hit these and we'd be doing summer's post-launch content or something, but no, it was great that we were able to plan early once the Kickstarter had finished,
yeah,
and then know, right, what can we do with this as a resource. Proud to say the Kickstarter 100% funded us, no other sources of income. It wasn't used to like get some money in early and other money from elsewhere later on. We never sought that. It just helped us say, what can we do with this? This is that's our goal, that's our challenge now.
Yeah. What's it been like? What was it like making Yooka-Laylee compared to making Banjo-Kazooie or Donkey Kong Country back in the day at Rare? What was the development time like compared to those days at Rare?
It was very similar in the way that we actually did the development, because we've been working together for many years, so we kind of have a certain way of iterating and developing things, and a lot of that, it's not like we write a lot of documentation and say this is exactly how it's going to be. A lot of it's trying things out, but we didn't take, because we've done this kind of game before, we know certain things work and what things don't work, so we still try certain things, but there's certain directions we know not to go in, and there's other ones we know that we should head in.
Yeah. Does anyone lark around when you're developing? Did you used to do that back in the Rare days? Is there a joker in the office?
I think there's, yeah, but it's the case.
7.
Yeah, there's loads of people. I mean, it's the case that people would. There's certain people who are very good at creating puns, as you can tell from the content of the game. But that also manifests itself in the office, and someone will just say something, and then suddenly somebody will start a chain of puns, and then they just keep going round and round and round.
So it's like 20 minutes of puns on the group chat. So I usually have to close the group chat down because it's just popping up every second with a new pun, and it's just unbearable.
You're anti-humour, aren't you? But it's a great way of working. It helps break down the barriers of having conversations and saying to someone, actually, this bit you're sure we're doing that bit quite right. We can all discuss it friendly. No one's going to get insulted when we say, Steve, your characters are awful, they're terrible. But we'll put up with it. It's not long till you retire, so... No, in all seriousness, it's great. We know each other so well. Even new members of the team we've brought in, and it's the first time we've ever worked with them. They've been great, they've come in, they've integrated with the team fantastically well, and they're just like part of the family now as well.
Yeah.
They see how you probably base the office plan actually for making sure Chris and Steve can sit next to each other early on, and everyone else just falls around it and sees how Chris starts coding the character controllers and Steve's matching it with models and animations.
Yeah.
And then everything just stems out from there.
Yeah. Has it been... Do come up and ask questions, by the way. Keep looking, and no one's... I can't quite see because of the lights, but yeah, do come up. Oh, look at that. Look, someone's come up straight away. Yes.
Hello.
Hello.
There's not exactly voice work here, but did any of the team provide any of the sounds for the game?
I think 90%, and then some backers did as well. Yeah, all of this. I mean, Yooka-Laylee is Chris.
That's right, that's me. And then I don't know which characters you voiced.
I was the big orange guy. He doesn't really have a speaking
That's his
part,
name.
but he does make lots of grunts. What's his name then? Do you know his name? This is big.
Andy
orange,
does the writer.
big,
He's back
big
there.
orange baddie.
Can you give us a rendition of...
I could, like, he's a... that sort of thing.
And Chris, can you give us a rendition?
Laylee's the easier one to do because she's more... she's quite manic and quite happy.
He comes out with the expression when he's doing it.
Yeah.
It's really expressive. It's great.
You've got to kind of pretend you are that.
And we have cheap offices still where the sound guy, Dan, he does great with what he's got, his limited resources, and the walls are really thin, so it's great when he's doing the character recording. Everyone else in the office gets it as well.
Thank you very much for your question. Oh. And yeah, please, if anyone else has any... I will see you when you come up. I might not get round to you straight away.
I knew Andy was going to run to the minecart where he's got one of his favourite puns in the game, the guy introducing his name as Kartos, the god of ore.
Something else about working on Kickstarter, which is something a lot of developers are doing for the first time, so they're getting used to it. But it's this idea of having thousands of backers publicly scrutinizing and feeling, instead of being accountable to a publisher, you're accountable to thousands of people who may not be familiar with game development. What kind of challenges did that bring? Did you feel like you were being publicly kind of watched at every step? Did it affect how you approach things?
I think we were aware. I mean, I was a big fan of Kickstarter as a backer myself on other stuff, and I knew what other campaigns I really appreciated with certain volume of communications coming through and the type of communications that come through that I appreciated. So I always wanted to mimic that a bit as well. I think we got really lucky that we seemed to find a high volume of backers that just were so aligned to us in their thinking. It was really spooky, and we had lots of conversations in the office on many different details, and sometimes it would be minutes later you'd read someone else's opinion on the forum, and you thought, we were just talking about that in the office just now. Are we bugged? We didn't know, but it was great. Little things, it could be like when picking up a pagey, we knew some people loved the fact that in Banjo-Kazooie he stops to do a dance. And in Banjo-Tooie, he doesn't, and instead the jiggy animates off around him. And we thought, well, what should happen in Yooka-Laylee? But that made us have a bit of a think, and we decided to put emotes into the game on the D-pad, 4 different types of emote.
Yeah.
So at any point in time in the game, it's up to the player if they want to emote. And so those fans who like the whole dance when you get a jiggy, pagey in this game, you can trigger that. And for those who want to carry on, maybe the speed running or just like to get where they're going next fast, they can have it their way as well and not have to worry about it.
Yeah. Is Kickstarter and crowdfunding something that you would be keen to do again?
I think it's got its pros and cons. For us, it was fantastic this time. I guess we take everything as it comes, and kind of when we have to make a decision, we'll then think about it. To be honest, we've not really thought about it a lot. Right now, we're in the phase of the Kickstarter where we've done things like sign 1,200 manuals, spend a day doing that.
Yes, how was that? I heard you mentioned something about that. What's that like, signing all those books?
Well, I think at the time of the Kickstarter, we just thought, oh, well, we'll add these signed manuals on it, won't be fine. And it won't take long to sign all these things. And then I think because that reward had filled up, we thought, oh, we'll open another one. That won't take long either. And each one was like, well, that won't be that much longer. But then when it actually came to do it, it was pretty much we had to block out a day so that we could get them all signed. And then we just had tables full of manuals that we just had to sit down. And we kind of, I think, in some cases people adapted their signatures. So my signature is normally a bit longer, but I may have I changed it. I thought, I know, I'll just change it in real life so my signature's like this from now on because it's going to be a lot quicker.
Yeah. So now that you're coming to the end of the project of Yooka-Laylee, even like the circle is closing, where do you go next? Have you got something in mind already?
I'd best say yes, so we sound like we've got a plan. Yeah, we've got ideas. We've bounced further things back and forth. We know we've still got some love to show for Yooka-Laylee, even though it's going to be out. I think gone are the days where you put something out and fire and forget. So no, there'll be some stuff to still come with Yooka-Laylee with this game. And as for what happens next, it's too early to be specific, but we've already started throwing ideas around.
Fantastic. Guys, come and ask some questions, please. I feel like you're waiting for me to invite you up to the microphone. Just like that. Brilliant.
Hiya.
Hello.
Before the acquisition of Rare, there was an image or a trailer about a third Banjo-Kazooie. I'm not too sure if this was in production or not, but if you were on the production team, are any of those aspects can be put into this game at all?
I think I know the trailer you're on about. Was it the...
The GameCube. It was like a small...
Ah, yeah, the GameCube one. No, when it came to this, I think there's a lot of natural elements in Yooka-Laylee that just come through just because the people who make the game, it's kind of us, our personalities, that just manifest in this type of gameplay and way. And there's always going to be those kinds of similarities, not just in Yooka, like as a spiritual successor to a 3D platformer, but in other games we do as well. I think you'll see a lot of the same personality coming through in whatever we do. So everything else around the whole game was just built ground up for this game.
I thought when we were making the game, like the character movement, we'd refer back to the old Banjo games a lot. But in reality, we didn't really do that, did we?
No.
I think as soon as you have these new characters and they have a new moveset, you kind of move away a little bit from the spiritual successor.
Okay. Next question, please.
I have a bit of a curiosity for the story. Like in most things, when you did Banjo-Kazooie and Donkey Kong, I always keep thinking like the Marvel Cinematic Universe, like crossovers. You have any ideas for stories like that?
Yeah, from when we started Playtonic, one of the kind of grander tasks we set ourselves was to not just create a single IP, a single genre and focus on that, but was to create a universe where, you know, wherever we want to go in future creatively with whatever character in whatever genre, we could do that. But we should totally play up to the fact that all these characters that we love should be in each other's titles, not necessarily always get on. It would be great if we ever choose to do some multiplayer rostered style games as well. So this is the hint at the start of kind of Yooka-Laylee's story, and the story from this game. I won't go into details, I'll try and avoid spoilers. But there's elements from this storyline that are actually key to the grand kind of good versus evil shenanigans of the entire Playtonic universe as well in future. So maybe I'll leave it to players to kind of, once they find out more, kind of discuss that online, and we'll be watching what they're saying as well.
Any possibility for crossover games from your previous work?
I guess that's something we'd have to just try and see with different platform holders at the time. For now, we're just totally focused on our own IP. It's been great that we got Shovel Knight in there. Yacht Club were one of the games I kind of read up and loved a lot myself, not only for their content, but from the way they were conducting themselves as a company as well. So it was kind of great to get Shovel Knight cameo from them in here, which was like perfect for all platforms that we were on.
Do you have any Easter eggs from your previous work on it?
I don't think there's any specific Easter eggs. I know there's an ice key on this level, which triggers the expansion. But a lot of it is, you'll see a lot of kind of touches in background textures, references, text all the time, which kind of mimic the kind of Easter eggs we do in the past. So there's more Easter eggs in this, but it's more Playtonic focused.
Okay, thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Another question. Brilliant.
I know you just alluded to the fact of the characters in other games, and obviously you haven't even finished this one yet. But have you thought of an idea of Yooka-Laylee racing based upon Diddy Kong Racing, probably the best racing game of all time?
We may hear that quite a bit actually from a lot of fans. A tiny little nugget of info: when first set up Playtonic, I thought a karting game might actually be the first game we do. But you know, let's wait and see.
Please do it.
Sounds hopeful. Okay, cheer. Anyone else with some questions? Here is one coming down, I think. No? Yeah. So another thing, while they're coming to the stand, so you took to Kickstarter to crowdfund this because presumably, you know, the money from a publisher wasn't necessarily there. Do you ever see platformers like this coming back in a big way, big enough way that publishers start jumping in and bringing them back on a sort of major multi-million kind of pound level?
I guess if this proves successful, then you possibly see quite a few other people coming back with people from the past and in terms of characters from the past. So that's quite possible. And,
Yeah.
I think we're seeing quite a few coming through at the moment already as well. There was a fantastic Ratchet and Clank game out last year. We've got Crash coming back, and then Mario's been flying the flag for the more acrobatic style 3D platformers the past few years anyway. So hopefully more from a selfish gamer perspective, I'd love to play more. I know that.
Okay, your questions, please.
Hi, can you talk a little about your work with Grant Kirkhope on the music? I mean, you've worked with him so many times. I mean, did you give him any specific directions for this one, or do you
I'll leave that for Steve. I think Steve should answer this. His arch nemesis.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's the best of both worlds, really. It's because he's over in LA, we don't have to put up with his foul habits in the office. So we get his lovely music, but none of the foul personality that goes with it. So.
Is there any specific musical direction for this game, or do you just kind of let him get on with it, or?
I mean, he'd see like an early version of the background. That's probably about as much direction as he gets, because he's really talented. So that's all he really needs to then go off and write a tune. And sometimes he'll come back with an early version. There'll be a bit of critique, and then if there is any critique, the second version is usually spot on. If the first version isn't spot on, so
I think initially, not just Grant, any member of the team, we try and like trust each other and say, you know what, go for it first time around anyway. And Grant's like been doing this in his sleep for years now, but he's never lost that appetite for doing it, still improving and doing things better than what he used to. So no, we've been really lucky, and hopefully he'll stick with us a bit longer as well on other stuff.
I think he was very conscious early on. Just to put enough banjo into it, especially when we did the reveal on Kickstarter. That's probably the most banjo-esque tune, I think, for the jungle level. But after that, I think he got to do his kind of thing a little bit more as he's like matured as a musician.
Thank you. Next question, please.
Hi guys, I'm Nick from All Things PlayStation, and you mentioned early on in the talk there was a golden age of same living room co-op fun. And then you talked about the Kickstarter success that you had in such a short amount of time, the fact that it allowed you to play around with more things within the game. So I'm just wondering, I'm not sure you clarified earlier on, is there any kind of co-op aspect to Yooka-Laylee that we can look forward to?
There is, there is kind of like mimics the game characters themselves, kinds of a buddy duo co-op mode, which we've aimed at kind of the person who might want to play and try and get someone into this type of game, but they don't normally play this type of game, or they're not as skillful as someone else. So it's more of an assistive co-op mode, using a characters called the Bee Team, and it's like a small swarm of bees that are kind of angry at the way capital bees, getting bees portrayed. And as development went on, we kind of come up with more ideas for this B team than we could actually fit into this game. So in future, that's another consistent Playtonic universe element we actually might see transfer across other games too, and expand on.
Right, so this would be something that we'd look forward to maybe in future DLC. It wouldn't be with the.
And no, to be there day one.
Oh,
but yeah, moving forwards after that, when we've got more to share on it, we will.
Oh, fantastic! Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Thank you. Next question, please.
Hi, when you're doing the character development, who did you settle on first, Yooka or Laylee? Like, did you have a bat with no other person? Like,
that's one for Steve.
It was Yooka was the first one. I think then I didn't start modelling that, and then I did a concept of Laylee. But interestingly enough, there was never a piece of concept art with the two of them together, like with Laylee on top of the head. I was just kind of thinking in my head, oh yeah, it'll be fine, it'll work. I know it'll work, so thankfully it did work.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was. I wouldn't say it was an easy process, because there was
a lot of animals.
There was a lot of iterations, especially on Yooka. There's probably some dreadful versions that I'd never show anyone, but you just have to keep going until you know what your endpoint is. So long as you know the endpoint, you just keep working towards it.
I think we spent quite a bit of time, or you spent quite a bit of time thinking about how Laylee would sit on Yooka and where her legs would go, and
there was some conversation of is the bat just going to be there, or is it going to? We obviously couldn't use a backpack. Someone suggested some kind of bizarre part of a church roof or something, because bats live in church roofs, which was one. But Yooka's crests were kind of designed so the bat could kind of sit in there almost as a sort of a little cockpit, because I didn't want Laylee just like perched on the head. There had to be somewhere for her to sit, so the characters were designed together a little bit like that.
Yeah. Thank you so much.
Yeah,
thank you. We've probably got time for a couple more questions. I know some of you must have questions. Anyone? No. Anyone at all?
Oh, we've got vehicles in the game. Everyone asked for that.
There it is.
There we go.
Hello.
Hello. Were there any moments during development that were sort of particularly hairy or difficult? Because it sounds like you had quite a smooth and congenial process in the main, but were there any points where you were a little bit worried about something?
Yeah, one guy on the team just kept bringing in sugar every day. Our weight was ballooning collectively, and I thought we were going to survive to the end of this. But we did. On the game itself, there was certainly plenty of elements which came naturally to them. I mean, the guys have been doing this before, and even though there was quite a bit actually where we looked back and we went, how did we used to do that? I remember even the speech matching the text as it was coming up. we were all speaking with Grant over on Skype, and we were like, no one can remember this bit. This bit has to be authentic, otherwise, people are going to really not believe us that we're capturing all the old elements that we can't not mess up, basically. So there's always that kind of pressure on certain smaller tonal touches. But in the most part, I think we just cracked on, had fun, and just were honest with each other all the time. If something wasn't working, we tried to shut it down early. In the end, then just focus on the bits that were working best. Thank you.
Right, thank you. Any more questions? No one. Okay. Well, in that case, now that we're coming to the end of the session, it's time for that very special something that I mentioned earlier. So please, can we have the very special something on the screen?
Hey, man, are you ready for this? Yeah, I was ready 20 years ago. Okay, let's do this. Here we go. Oh, it's finally time. Thanks to you, it's the game revival. Health come true. They said this seems dead. That's a load of yap. And we're here to prove it with this familiar rap. His name's on the box, and he's green as cat.
So that's a wrap. Sorry. So up next, we have Creative Assembly talking about the challenges they faced when building Halo Wars 2. But for now, thank you to Gavin, Chris, and Steve from Playtonic. And remember, Yooka-Laylee comes out 11th of April. So thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.